A very good morning, children. I, Tanima Seth, your English teacher, hope you all are doing well. Children, in the previous session, we've learned that Jerome happened to propose to go for a swim early in the morning, but George and Harry withdrew as it was chilling cold. Jerome seriously wanted to prove them that it wasn't a stupid idea that he had proposed, and so he decided to go for a swim all by himself, all alone. He even thought upon various excuses because he knew deep inside his heart that, of course, it's chilly, cold, it's really cold. But finally, he decided to just go near the edge of the river, dip his leg, and then, of course, he would return to the boat. Though he went onto the overhanging branch, he realized how cold it was, and so he decided to return. He, of course, knew that his, friends would laugh at him, but he was ready to bear the insult. As he was turning to return to the boat, a mishap took place with him. A mishappening. What happened? The overhanging branch broke and Jerome fell into the river with his towel, and of course was, as accidentally it has happened with him, so of course he was all shocked. So now let's read further and see what happened to Jerome, and most importantly how his friends reacted, or what was their reaction. Okay, all right. Hey dude, Jerome's gone in, he heard Harry say as he came blowing to the surface. I didn't think he'd have the pluck to do it, did you? So, of course, when he had fallen into the river, the splash could be heard even by Harry. Harry told it to George that Jerome had fallen into the river. And he heard Harry saying so. Jerome had heard Harry saying this to George, as after he had fallen into the river. When he came out to the surface, he was breathing hard. At that time, he had actually heard Harry telling George. And he also said, I didn't think he'd have the pluck to do it. Have the pluck means have the courage. So, of course, Harry said it to George that, of course, he didn't think that, of course, Jerome had the courage to do it. So, he was all, in admiration for Jerome. Did you? How's the water? George sang out, sniggering. But what was George's reaction? He asked Jerome that how was the water? Was it cold? Was it warm? He was saying it so that he could laugh at him. He was actually making fun of him. So therefore he was sniggering. Sniggering means he was laughing in a very mean way. Lovely, Jerome spluttered back. Spluttered means that when one happens to reply really quickly and rapidly, but at the same time the person is confused and embarrassed, and you don't know in that confusion and embarrassment what to answer, but you know that you have to reply, you have to retort. So of course the person happens to reply really quickly in confusion or embarrassment. So of course Jerome, when George asked him that how was the water, so of course he said, lovely, it was really good. You are fools not to come in. I wouldn't have missed this for the world. Come in, come on in, try it. Just a wee bit of determination. That is a little bit of determination. That's all that it requires. That's all it takes. But no, nothing could persuade them. So of course now Jerome was trying to cover it up. He said that you are fools that you didn't come along with me. I told you that it was you would enjoy the swim, and of course on for my part I wouldn't have missed this, of course, for the entire for the world. And he also persuaded them, he also forced them to come and try. And he was trying to provoke them by saying that of course a little bit of determination and courage it requires, and see, even you will enjoy the swim like me. But of course none of his words made any effect on Harry and George. It didn't force them actually. Jerome was very cold when he got back into the boat, and in his hurry to get his shirt on, accidentally jerked it into the water. Now, what happened? Another humorous incident happened. Now, as he was feeling really cold, he was just rushing towards to get back into towards the boat to get back into it. What happened? In his hurry, he was trying to get his shirt on, and accidentally it fell into the water. And when it fell, of course it shrank into the water. It annoyed him all the more because George found it very amusing and guffawed, that is, he was laughing really loudly and heartily. He roared with laughter. So now what happened? When his shirt fell into the river, then at that time he got really annoyed. He not only got annoyed, he got frustrated. He was he was about to lose his temper. Why? Because at the second funny incident that had taken place, of course even George was laughing out loud. He was roaring with laughter. So of course his laughter annoyed him all the more. And then of course he started cursing George. "You monster," Jerome scolded him. "Have some pity on me. I'm freezing and you are laughing?" But George found his protests even more hilarious and laughed hysterically. Hilarious, that is extremely amusing, and hysterically, that is with wildly uncontrolled emotion. So what happened? It even happens with us that when any funny incident takes place with us, or maybe with one of our siblings or friends, then instead of helping the person out, we tend to laugh, right? And the more the person protests, the more the person shows his annoyance, the more you will laugh back at the person. So similarly it happened with in between George and Jerome. So as Jerome was scolding him that you should have pity on me, you should sympathize with me on my situation. I'm feeling really cold over here and you have nothing to do. If you are not ready to help, you are just laughing. So when Jerome was trying to scold him, George laughed violently, uncontrollably, and he found his protests even more amusing. Jerome had never seen him laugh so wickedly. He lost his temper with him. "What a heartless maniac you are," he said. But George only roared louder. So of course Jerome had never seen George laughing so wickedly, so violently, so uncontrollably. So at this point, of course, Jerome finally lost his temper. He grew really, his fury grew, all right. He got really angry and he called him a heartless maniac. That instead, maniac, a person who shows, extremely violent behavior. And he said that, of course, instead of helping me, instead of sympathizing with me, you are laughing loudly at me. All right. Then what happens next? Jerome managed to get the shirt onto the boat hook and haul it out of the water. Haul means drag or pull with a lot of effort or force. So, of course, Jerome somehow managed to get the shirt out of the water. He took the help of the boat hook, and the help of the boat hook, of course, he dragged the shirt out of the water. At that precious moment, he realized that it was not his shirt at all, but George's. Now, what happened? Now, this is, a really, turning point, or you can say a very comic twist. At that precious moment, that is when he was, of course, when he had dragged the shirt out of the water, at that time he realized that it was not his shirt, rather it was George's shirt. He had mistaken it for his in a hurry to get dressed. Now what happened? Of course, when he was coming, into the boat, he was moving towards the boat and he was trying on his shirt. At that time, he had actually mistakenly he had took George's shirt. He thought that of course it was his shirt, but it was at that time that he realized that it wasn't his shirt, rather it was George's. The humor of the thing struck Jerome for the first time, and he began to laugh. Now, of course, it was his turn. So the very comic thing that has happened, the humor of the thing struck him, and now he started laughing. And the more he looked from George's wet shirt to George, roaring with laughter, the more he was amused. Now, of course, when he had taken out the shirt, and he held that wet shirt of George in his hand, and he was looking from the wet shirt towards George, and the more he was doing so, the more he was laughing. He found it really amusing, that is, he found it really funny and entertaining. Jerome now laughed so much that he let the shirt fall back into the water again. Another thing, the funny thing that has happened with him. Now what happened? The more he was laughing, as he was laughing so much, in that process, what happened? He again let the shirt fall back into the water. So the shirt again fell into the water. "Aren't you going to get it out?" said George between his shrieks. Between his shrieks, that is between Jerome, as Jerome was shouting with laughter, he was roaring with laughter. George finally said that he asked him that whether he'll not get it out of the water, or you'll just keep on laughing. Jerome couldn't answer for a while, he was laughing so much, but at last, between his peals of laughter, he managed to jerk out, "Now, it isn't my shirt, it's yours." Now, he was laughing so much that for a while, he wasn't able to say something. He was not able to answer to George. But at last, between his peals, his peals, that is his shrieks or shouts of laughter, he managed to force out the words out of his mouth, and he finally told or revealed it to George that it wasn't Jerome's shirt, rather it is George's shirt which has fallen into the water. Jerome never saw a face change from lively to severe so suddenly in all his life. Severe, that is serious in feeling or manner. So now what happened? The moment he told George that it wasn't Jerome's shirt, rather it was George, the expressions of George's face changed so rapidly, so quickly. Earlier he was the expressions of his face were that he was really enjoying the funny thing that has happened with the Jerome. He was all laughing. He was really joyful, really cheerful, and he was not able to control his emotions. He was laughing, but the moment he told him, his expressions turned so quickly from joyfulness to seriousness. All right. So he all of a sudden his the facial expressions of George changed. "What?" he yelled, springing up, that is jumping up. "You silly cuckoo, my most expensive shirt. Why can't you be more careful of what you are doing? Why don't you go and dress on the bank? You are not fit to be in a boat. Gimme the boat," or gimme, that is give me. So now he happens to scold Jerome. Now he says that of course you don't know how to dress yourself. You are not fit to be in a boat. You should have been more careful. You have spoiled the most expensive shirt of mine, and what not. Then of course he was not in at all in his in his senses. Of course, the thing has gone wrong with him. Earlier he was laughing at Jerome, and now when he realized that the thing has gone wrong with him, then of course now the table had turned, and now it was George who is the victim. All right. Jerome tried to make him see the fun of the thing, but he could not. So, of course, Jerome was trying to pacify him, he was trying to console him, he was trying to make him see that, see, it could be, it could happen with anyone. Earlier, you were laughing at me. Now it's my turn. So now I'm laughing with the at you. So you should, take it that way. There is nothing to, grow. That it is nothing to get angry on something. It's a funny thing that has happened, so even you laugh. But George was very dense at seeing a joke sometimes. Very dense means that he was really ignorant, he was really stupid not to see a joke sometimes. Or perhaps he didn't care much about doing to others as he wanted them to do to him. Harry found that really amusing. So, of course, Jerome was trying to make him see the fun, but George was not able to understand. He was really dense, he was really ignorant of the thing, or perhaps he didn't care much about doing to others as he wanted them to do to him. So, of course, he was not able to bear the thing on him. Though he was doing the same thing at that time, he wanted, even Jerome to laugh, but he was at that time not even he sympathized, not even he helped him. So, it is the same that he has got in return, but of course he was not able to accept the thing. And it even happens usually with all of us at some or the other point. It has happened with us, and this is the thing that we get to learn from this story. As Jerome, the author, says it in the very last line. It seemed George had not understood the principle that is the rule: do to others as you would have others do to you. That is, you should treat the others in the same manner as you would like them to treat you. All right, if you will give respect, if you will show respect towards others, and of course even you will get respect in return. If you will show hatred, then of course you will also get hatred in return. If you will make fun of others, so you can't expect others to be polite towards you. Even they would, when they'll get the chance, so they will also make fun of you. They will also, show their emotions accordingly, or according to your treatment. So, of course, and yes, one more thing, if we are making fun of someone, then of course we should have that much courage that it can, the tables can also be turned towards us. So, of course, we should also be in a jovial mood, that we could also accept the same thing. So, this is the thing that we get to learn from this story. Therefore, children, this is how this excerpt contains humorous incidents, and at the same time conveys an important moral, as it has been quoted by the author Jerome in the very last line: do to others as you would have others do to you. I now end the session. Hope you found the story interesting and entertaining. So read the story, go through the explanation again. All right, children, bye bye, take care.